Okay, so early in the week, I posted this story on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, and it deals with um, racism when it comes to home appraisals. Racism when it comes to home appraisals, and there's a huge story from the New York Times dealing with this. The name of the story: Home appraised with a black owner, $472,000, with a white owner, $750,000. Home appraised with a black owner, $472,000, with a white owner, $750,000. Okay, so I want to talk about that here in the first as our lead story today. We're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep, as well. So we're working through some technical difficulties here. But if we look at this first story, now this is from August 18th, 2022 from the New York Times, and it was updated August 19th. Dr. Nathan Connolly and his wife, Connolly-Mott, say an appraisal company undervalued the home based on their race. The couple has filed a lawsuit in Maryland. Now, and here's a picture of the couple as well. Now, they messed with the wrong person because he's Dr. Nathan Connolly is a professor of history at Johns Hopkins University. Okay, so last summer, Nathan Connolly and his wife, Connolly-Mott, M-O-T-T, welcomed an appraiser into their house in Baltimore, Maryland, hoping to take advantage of historically low interest rates and refinance their mortgage. Now, we also talked about how Wells Fargo came under fire when they turned away more applications to refinance home mortgages from African-American lenders than they actually approved. Now, that's being investigated, but we've dealt with that story here dealing with Wells Fargo also. Okay, now the couple believed that their house improved with a new $5,000 tankless water heater and $35,000 in renovations. They believed that their house was worth more than $450,000, more than the $450,000 that they paid for the house in 2017. Now, home prices have been on the rise nationwide since the pandemic. In Baltimore, Maryland, they have gone up. Home prices have gone up 42% in the past 5 years. 42% in the past 5 years, according to the website Zillow.com. But 2020 valuations, the Maryland appraisal company, 2020 valuations, put the home's value at $472,000. And in turn, Loan Depot, a mortgage lender, denied the couple a refinance loan because of the appraisal value. Now, Dr. Nathan Connolly said he knew why. His wife and 3 children, his children are ages 15, 12, and 9, are African American. Now, Dr. Nathan Connolly is a professor of history at Johns Hopkins University, and he is an expert on redlining and the legacy of white supremacy. Redlining and the legacy of white supremacy in American cities. And much of his research focuses on the role of race in the housing market. Now, months after the appraisal, the couple applied for another finance loan. They removed family photos and had a white male colleague who was another Johns Hopkins University professor, Johns Hopkins University. The white colleague is another Johns Hopkins University professor. So they had the white friend stand in for them as the homeowner. And we've covered numerous stories about the same phenomenon happening. And when this happens and they have somebody white to sit in to pretend to be the homeowner, they took down all the African art. They took down all the African American and African related books. You know, I don't know if you want to have the destruction of Black civilization, you know, out when the white appraiser comes, you know, by Dr. Chancellor Williams. Fantastic book. Don't know if you want to have that on the coffee table when the white appraiser comes. Okay. How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney. Black Man in the Nile and His Family by Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen. Christopher Columbus and the African Holocaust, Slavery and the Rise of European Capitalism by Dr. John Henry Clark. Fantastic books. I don't think you want to have those on the coffee table or have those visible when the white appraiser comes. So they take down all the African art. They take down the Terry McMillan books. They take down anything. They take down all the pictures, etc. And then they make it look like somebody white lives there. And all of a sudden, the second appraiser, right, valued the house at $750,000. Valued the house at $750,000. Okay. We're going to continue this on the other side of the break. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. All right. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 if you have a quick question or comment. Okay, so our lead story was this big article that the that the New York Times had this week. Came out August 18th. We posted this story on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. If you don't follow us on Facebook, you should go ahead and follow us. Turn on live notifications so you know when we go live. Home appraised with a black owner, $472,000, with a white owner, $750,000. Okay. And this is, this continues this discussion that we've been having, dealing with fighting against discrimination when it comes to home appraisals. Now, if we look at this here, let me see, hold on. Okay, if we go back to this article, 97%, more than 97% of home appraisers are white, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And since the summer of 2020, when conversations on race and discrimination in the home valuation, discrimination in America rose to the forefront following the murders of George Floyd, dozens of black homeowners since then have alleged discrimination in the home valuations they received. Dozens of black homeowners have alleged discrimination in the home valuations they received. Now, some have filed lawsuits. In the Biden-Harris administration in March of 2022 announced a set plan, announced a set of planned reforms to overhaul the appraisal industry and dismantle systemic bias. Now, this is something I've talked about because if you read the 19-page document from whitehouse.gov, and I mentioned this when I was on Roland Martin Unfiltered Friday. I talked about this when I was on Reverend Al Sharpton's show for 2 hours. I think I mentioned this when I was on his show for 2 hours about 3 Wednesdays ago, when I was on Faraji Muhammad's show on the Black Star Media Network, Roland Martin's network. Faraji had me on this show 2 Wednesdays ago. The document is called The Biden-Harris Administration Advances Equity and Opportunity for Black People and Communities Across the Country. The Biden-Harris Administration Advances Equity and Opportunity for Black people and communities across the country. So I know you have these people who call in the radio shows, national radio shows, even calling to this station and talking about Biden and Harris haven't done anything for Black people. Now, the question I ask people like that, and they don't call into this show because they know better. They ain't stupid. They're not stupid enough to call in with that type of nonsense because they know they're going to get stopped. And I'm gonna hit them with the facts. The question that I ask people like that is, how did you do the research? What articles did you read? What report did you read? What study did you read? How did you assess the accomplishments of the Biden-Harris administration, what has happened in the past 18 months? How did you research that before you called in the radio shows talking that simple Simon ass nonsense? Because the evidence is there to prove that you're wrong. So this is one of the things that I'm always perplexed by, because 99 times out of 100, when they call in with that nonsense, I want you to pay attention to something. They never cite sources. They don't cite articles. They don't cite studies. They don't cite fact sheets. They just put out opinions as if it's facts, but they can't back it up. So most of these people won't talk about the measures that the Biden-Harris administration are taking to fight against discrimination when it comes to housing appraisals. Some have filed lawsuits, and the Biden-Harris administration in March of 2022 announced a set of planned reforms to overhaul the appraisal industry and dismantle systemic bias. So the people who say Biden isn't doing anything for Black people, why don't they talk about this? Either one, they don't know it, or two, they don't want you to know it. Now, Dr. Nathan Connolly and Dr. Connolly-Mott live in the North Baltimore neighborhood of Homeland, Homeland, known for its strong public schools and colonial architecture, which has earned it a place on the National Register of Historic Places. A majority of their neighbors are white. Now, according to their complaint, which was filed in Maryland District Court on Monday, this past Monday, which would have been August 15th, the couple applied to refinance their mortgage with Loan Depot in May of 2021. The lender, Loan Depot, approved a loan at a rate of 2.25%, and according to the complaint, told the couple that their home was likely now worth $550,000 or more. $550,000 or more. To conduct the appraisal, Loan Depot hired 2020 Valuations as a subcontractor. Now, Mr. Lanham, who's the owner of 2020 Valuations, conducted the inspection himself on June 14, 2021. According to the complaint, Dr. Nathan Connolly and his wife, Dr. Shani Connolly, and their 3 children were home during the visit, and their house was also filled with family photos, children's drawings of figures with dark skin, a poster from the film Black Panther. See, you can't be Wakanda forever when the white appraisers come. Love the film Black Panther. You gotta have Black Panther and you also gotta have the Black Panthers. You can't have a picture up of Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale when the white appraisers come. Huey P. Newton's one of my frat brothers, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. But I'm telling you, when the white appraisers come, it's not a good idea to have the Black Panther Party for self-defense have a picture up there with them with guns when the white appraisers come. Don't have the Black Panther, okay, from Wakanda, and don't have the Black Panthers from Oakland, California up when the white appraisers come. Okay, you can do what you want to do. Take them down, put them back up when they leave. I'm just saying, okay. when we're trying to score high on the appraisal list, you need to take it down. Okay, so they had a poster from the film Black Panther and literature by Black authors. Now, Dr. Connolly-Mott lectures on literature and Africana studies. You got to take down the Terry McMillans. You got to take down the Toni Morrison. You know, you got to take down the James Baldwin. You got to have that. You know, so this is the games people have to play. Okay, you may be able to get away with a book by Dr. No, you can't get away with a book by Dr. King. Where do we go from here? Chaos or Community. You got to have autobiography of Malcolm X. Okay, you got all that stuff. You got to put it away. Okay. All right, now let's continue. So, quote, it would have been obvious to anyone visiting the home it would have been obvious to anyone visiting that the home belonged to a Black family, the complaint said. The appraisal came back just $22,000 more than the family had paid for the home, and Loan Depot based its rejection on the couple's application on the low number. Loan Depot based its rejection of the couple's application on the low number. Okay, we'll continue this on the other side of the break. Also, we'll talk about the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice saying that Florida targets African-American voters. We'll discuss that as well. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. Okay, let's go back to this article here quickly. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a quick question or comment. All right, so right before the break, we were talking about this story from the New York Times. Home appraised with a Black owner $472,000, with a white owner $750,000. Now, the couple, Dr. Nathan Connolly and Dr. Connolly-Mott, the couple criticized the way that Mr. Lanham, who owned 2020 Valuations, which is the home appraisal company, the couple criticized the way Mr. Lanham came up with his appraisal. Now, home appraisers frequently rely upon the sales comparison approach, in which they weigh real estate against the sale prices of similar nearby homes to determine value. Similar nearby homes to determine value. Now, in Mr. Lanham's appraisal, he selected 3 homes with value ranges from $435,000 to $545,000. 3 homes with values ranging from $435,000 to $545,000. A fourth comparable, or comp as it's called, a fourth comparable which sold for $650,000 was ultimately not used in his valuation. Now, the first home used the complaint argues would be considered a fixer-upper, which the home of Dr. Nathan Connolly and Dr. Connolly-Mott is not. Okay. Now, the second home is outside the boundaries of the homeland neighborhood where they live, amid a majority Black census block of homes. Now, the neighborhood that they live in is a predominantly white neighborhood. Okay, so the second home that was the comp or comparable is outside of the boundaries of the homeland neighborhood where they live, and it's amid a majority Black census block of homes. In the third home that was used in the comparison, Mr. Lanham, according to the complaint, deducted $50,000 from the comparison amount because Dr. Connolly and Dr. Mott's home faces a busy street. A deduction, the complaint says, that, quote, is excessive and is inconsistent with proper appraisal practices. The complaint says that this deduction of $50,000 because the home faces a busy street is quote, is excessive and is inconsistent with proper appraisal practices, end quote. Now, another $20,000 was deducted for the quality of construction. Now, all of the selected comparable homes, the complaint says, were of lower quality than Dr. Connolly and Dr. Mott's home, and the appraisal incorrectly stated that their home had not received any updates for 15 years. That's false also. The appraisal also incorrectly, according to them, states that, according to the complaint, states that their home had not received any updates, any improvements for 15 years. Now, according to the complaint, Mr. Lanham, quote, cherry-picked low-value homes as comps, end quote, and by doing so, he, quote, ignored legitimately comparable homes with much higher sales prices, end quote. Now, when reached by phone this past Tuesday, Mr. Lanham declined to comment. Dr. Nathan Connolly and Dr. Shani Mott wrote a letter to Christian Jorgensen, a lending officer at Loan Depot, who had been their main point of contact up to that point, challenging the appraisal. So when we get these lowball appraisals, we have to challenge them, because you're dealing, this is directly related to the racial wealth gap. This is directly related to a lack of intergenerational wealth. So when we get these low appraisals, we have to challenge them. Now, according to the complaint, the loan officer, Christian Jorgensen, then stopped responding to their calls. Now, Jorgensen did not respond to requests for comment from the New York Times either. Now, several months later, the couple applied for a new loan with Swift Home Loans, which partnered with Rocket Mortgage. This is here in Detroit, Rocket Mortgage, Dan Gilbert. This time they underwent a quote unquote whitewashing experiment, And this is one of the few times when I agree with whitewashing. Removing indications of blackness from their home and replacing them with signifiers that a white family might live there instead. Now, they cleared their bookshelves of works by black authors, okay? Yeah, because you gotta hide your copy. You gotta hide your book dealing with the Nat Turner Rebellion. You gotta hide your book dealing with the Amistad Slave Revolt. You can't have all that stuff up. You got to put that in somewhere, take it over to a friend's house or something like that. You got to have the Miseducation of the Negro by Dr. Carter G. Woodson. James H. Cone's book, Martin Malcolm in America, A Dream or a Nightmare. You definitely have to hide the book by Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr. Let me see. Can I put my hands on it? I think I have it right here in this stack. He was a field secretary for SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, for 5 years in rural Mississippi. And he was organizing African Americans to register to vote in rural Mississippi. Okay. We know Mississippi was the lynching capital of America from 1882 to 1968. Mississippi had 581 lynchings from 1882 to 1968, the most number of lynchings out of any state in the country. Okay. Now, this book right here, if you're trying to whitewash your home to get a higher appraisal This is one of the very few times I agree with whitewashing. You cannot have this book anywhere on the premises. The name of this book is called This Nonviolent Stuff Will Get You Killed: How Guns Made the Civil Rights Movement Possible. Okay, you can't have this book anywhere on the premises. I'm just trying to tell you. Okay, you can't. I love the book, love Professor Charles E. Conn Jr. This you can't do that. When the white appraiser comes, you have to hide the book. Okay, so let's go back to the article here. And let's go to this one right here. All right. So they went through a whitewashing. All right. They cleared their bookshelves of works by Black authors. They asked white friends to share family photos and place those pictures in frames around the house. On their walls, they hung art bought at IKEA that showed white people. Okay. So so this is understanding the rules of the game. Now, an American flag that was presented to Dr. Connolly-Mott 10 years ago after the death of her father, who was a Vietnam veteran, was removed from storage, framed, and placed on the mantle. Your posters of Colin Kaepernick, you got to take that down. Your pictures of Malcolm X and Dr. King, your pictures of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, you got to take down. The red, black, and green flag, the bandera, you got to take that down. You can't have that when the white appraiser comes. Okay, I'm just trying to tell you. I'm trying to help you out here. All right. Quote, we had to have a conversation with our kids about why we're pulling down all their drawings, Dr. Nathan Connolly said. Quote, it's very humiliating to strip yourself of your own home. It's very humiliating to strip yourself of your own home. All right, now on the day of the second appraisal, they left their home and had the white colleague answer the door. Okay, so he goes to the door like Mr. Belvedere or something like that. All right. On the day of the second appraisal, they had their white colleague answer the door. The second appraiser provided the $750,000 estimate. Now, the homes pulled by the second appraiser were of significantly higher value than those selected by Mr. Lanham, according to the complaint, who owns 2020 Valuation Appraisal Company. The homes pulled by the second appraiser were valued between $749,000 and $785,000. And while Mr. Lanham docked or took away $50,000 or 10% from the comparable homes that were not on a busy road, the second appraiser deducted $15,000 or 2%. The complaint says that the 2% adjustment is consistent with industry standards. The $50,000 adjustment is not. We'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes.
IDO Network International, in collaboration with STL Black Woman, DACA, and ACTA, present the Royal Pilgrimage to the Americas, August 24th through the 28th. The African kings and queens are coming to you for business, networking, and sharing of Pan-African ideals. The venue will be the illustrious En Garde Arts Hotel in St. Louis, Missouri. A royal cultural experience and exhibitions, trade and investment opportunities in Africa, the Caribbean, and the Americas. A Royal Pan-African Summit hosting keynote speakers and a red carpet banquet. Come and witness an African royal coronation ceremony. Register at www.idonetwork.org to book your ticket to wine and dine with African royalty. Vendor opportunities available. Get face-to-face with the royals who own the land and resources for business. Contact DACA for deal room information at 602-730-4572.
The work that I do is larger than the fashion industry. It's larger than the art world. And I believe that I was born to bring newness into this world. I'm Kaima McIntyre. I'm 24 years old and I'm an artist. I create everything from paintings to jewelry design, metaphysical jewelry to be specific, and fashion design. The only reason why my prom dress went viral is because people needed it. Within a few days of going viral, Notori Naughton reached out to me and she's like, I saw your dress, can you make me a dress? I was equally as shocked to be asked by a celebrity to design their dress at the age of 17. That's just one person, and the list just continues to go on to Janet Jackson, to Tyra Banks. It really hits home. That means that the discussion is happening on the grounds in real time.
Welcome back to the African History Network show. All right, in just a minute, Giovanni, we're going to clip number one. Okay, so just make sure that one's ready. Okay, I want to wrap up with this article here from the New York Times, and this was our lead story. So this deals with, once again, another lawsuit dealing with discrimination when it comes to home appraisal market. All right, now, for this second appraisal, only deducted $15,000 for the home facing a busy street, whereas the first appraisal they were deducted $50,000. The $15,000 deduction, or 2% of the overall appraisal value, is consistent with industry standards. It's consistent with industry standards. Now, race has long played a role in housing policy in the United States. And African Americans are denied mortgages at a disproportionate rate. Now, the impact of redlining, which is a racist depression era housing policy, continue, and it comes from the Homeowners Loan Corporation, developed about 1934. So comes from the Homeowners Loan Corporation. So redlining was created by the federal government. The impact of redlining, which is a racist depression era housing policy, continues to drive down home values in African American neighborhoods and deprive resources for communities of color, especially African American communities. But Dr. Mott and Dr. Connolly do not live in a black neighborhood. As I said, they live in a majority white neighborhood. The disparity in their two appraisals echoes a lawsuit brought by Tanisha Tate Austin and Paul Austin, a black couple in California's Bay Area, who have accused an appraiser of lowballing their value by $500,000. We talked about that case here on this show as well. Now, that case said that Mr. Austin is scheduled for mediation, a chance to resolve the matter before heading to court in September 2022. Mr. Austin said, we're looking to hold people accountable, and that's what you have to do. We're looking to hold people accountable. Now, the Department of Justice made the unusual move in February of 2022, issuing a statement of interest in the Austin case, okay? The case of Tanisha Tate Austin and her husband, Paul Austin. The U.S. Department of Justice, under Attorney General Merrick Garland, not William Barr, but Merrick Garland, made the unusual move in February of 2022 of issuing a statement of interest in the Austin case, underscoring the fact that appraisers who are bound by the Fair Housing Act of 1968 to not discriminate can be held legally liable if they do. Now, Paul Austin said it was a big step for the Biden-Harris administration to say that they want the appraisal industry to be overhauled. Now, why more people are not talking about this, I don't know, especially these Simple Simon ass people who keep calling to these radio shows saying that the Biden-Harris administration, they're not doing anything for black people. Notice they don't cite sources. They don't cite articles. They don't cite studies. They definitely don't cite this document here that I've talked about numerous times before. And to my knowledge, I'm the only person that's talking about this document, which I really don't understand. I don't think I've heard anybody from the White House talk about this. I haven't heard Tiffany Cross, haven't heard Joanne Reed, haven't heard anybody else. I talked about this on Reverend Al Sharpton's show when I was on. I reference this almost every week on Roland Martin Unfiltered. I'm the only person I've heard talk about this document. I don't even understand that. That makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. All the black people in media ain't heard one person talk about this. The Biden-Harris administration advances equity and opportunity for black people and communities across the country. Now, this was last updated February 28th, 2022. The original one came out October 2021. This has to be updated because there's so much that's happened since February 28th, 2022. Emmett Till anti-lynching bill, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the Executive Order 13985, the implementation of the 300 strategies across 90 federal agencies to address racism and discrimination, things like this. The releasing of those strategies came after February 28th, 2022. But if we just look here, they talk about home appraisals, okay? Ensuring, let's blow this up so I want you to take a screenshot of this. All these dumbasses that call into these shows, or that you know, or that you follow on social media, I want you to screenshot this and show it to them and ask them, why aren't you talking about this? Okay, I find it very strange you're not talking about this. Ensuring black homeowners get full value for their homes. Ensuring black homeowners get full value for their homes. In June 2021, Biden-Harris administration, President Biden directed the launch of a first of its kind interagency effort to address inequity in home appraisals and conduct rulemaking to aggressively combat housing discrimination. Rulemaking to aggressively combat housing discrimination. The effort, led by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, better known as HUD. Now, that's Secretary Marsha Fudge, former member of the Congressional Black Caucus. The effort, led by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Secretary Marsha Fudge, and Domestic Policy Advisor Susan Rice, is developing a set of policy actions and recommendations for President Biden to redress racial bias in home appraisals that will soon be released. Okay, and it's been released since then. If I remember correctly, it's been released since February 28th, 2022. Protecting, and then they go on to talk about protecting Black Americans' access to housing by combating housing discrimination. Read this. This is part of this 19-page document that nobody talks about. If you know somebody else that talks about this document besides me and before me, please let me know, because I don't know who they are. This is at whitehouse.gov, official website of the White House. Pretty powerful document, pretty powerful website. So check that out. Read the rest of that article. Those watching on Facebook and YouTube, keep watching for a few minutes more, because we're going to squeeze in the segment from Roland Martin Unfiltered. We're out of time here on 9:10 a.m. Superstation WFDF. We ran into some technical difficulties. Be sure to visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, and TheAHNShow.com, my new website. You can register for the online history classes I teach on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, it is Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. Right now, for limited time only, classes on sale $60, regularly $130. As soon as you register, you can watch the class we just did this past Friday, okay? And we do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. You can go back and watch it anytime. And then on Sundays, from the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement of Black Power, 1865 to 1968. All right, remember, right now is correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. And we'll talk to you next week. Peace. Hotep, everybody. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, writer, and historian. And I want to give a special shout out to everybody who has attended the 11th annual Liberated Minds Black Homeschooling Education Expo. I just want to take a few minutes, and we had a great presentation that I did on Saturday. So I teach 2 online history classes. One on Saturday and one on Sunday. On Saturday, the class that I teach, normally 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is called Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, Understanding the Transatlantic Slave Trade, what they didn't teach you in school. And this is normally a 10-week online class. We deal with thousands of years of history and what leads up to the transatlantic slave trade taking place. We can't start studying our history in slavery. Even when we study the transatlantic slave trade, which is important to study, we can't start in 1619 or in the 1440s with the Portuguese, when the Portuguese get involved in the transatlantic slave trade. We have to understand the history chronologically and deal with the 800-year occupation of Europe by the Africans known as the Moors, who entered into the Iberian Peninsula, today known as Spain and Portugal, from North Africa in 711 AD. When we discuss the transatlantic slave trade, we have to first understand that African people are the original people of North, Central, and South America and have been in the land we call the United States at least 51,700 years. Now, the second class I teach is on Sundays, normally 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's called From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. Now, these classes are normally $130. They're on sale right now, $60. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded, so you can go back and watch it anytime. So a year from now, 2 years from now, you can go back and watch the entire class. With both of these classes, I would say the content is PG-13, so you can use this with your children as well if you want to. Also, you can advertise with the African History Network. We have 3 new advertising packages. Our current promotion is buy 1 month to get 1 month free. We have 1 million followers at our Facebook fan page, the African History Network. And with our platinum package, we'll take out ads on our Facebook fan page for you as well to help maximize your advertising campaign. And we take your 30-second to 60-second commercial, we put into the rebroadcast of our shows, and also into the audio podcast of our shows as well. We only have 20 advertising slots because we have a finite amount of advertising space. Email us at TheAHNShow@TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com, TheAHNShow@TheAfricanHistoryNetwork.com, or call us 313-462-0003. All right now it's corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
The work that I do is larger than the fashion industry. It's larger than the art world. And I believe that I was born to bring newness into this world. I'm Kaima McIntyre. I'm 24 years old and I'm an artist. I create everything from paintings to jewelry design, metaphysical jewelry to be specific, and fashion design. The only reason why my prom dress went viral is because people needed it. Within a few days of going viral, Naturi reached out to me and she's like, I saw your dress, can you make me a dress? I was equally as shocked to be asked by a celebrity to design their dress at the age of 17. That's just one person, and the list just continues to go on, to Janet Jackson, to Tyra Banks. It really hits home. That means that the discussion is happening on the grounds in real time.
iRedify is a Black-owned digital platform that showcases Black and Brown cultures and people. The books on the platform are written by African-American authors, Afro-Caribbean authors, African authors, and so much more. Kids 14 and under can read ebooks, listen to audiobooks, and complete learning activities. Kids can even write in the books digitally. Get unlimited access to everything on the platform for only $8.99 a month at iRedify.com. Sign up for your membership today.
IDO Network International, in collaboration with STL Black Woman, DACA and ACTA present the Royal Pilgrimage to the Americas, August 24th through the 28th. The African kings and queens are coming to you for business, networking, and sharing of Pan-African ideals. The venue will be the illustrious En Garde Arts Hotel in St. Louis, Missouri. A royal cultural experience and exhibitions, trade and investment opportunities in Africa, the Caribbean, and the Americas. A Royal Pan-African Summit hosting keynote speakers and a red carpet banquet. Come and witness an African royal coronation ceremony. Register at www.idonetwork.org to book your ticket to wine and dine with African royalty. Vendor opportunities available. Get face-to-face with the royals who own the land and resources for business. Contact DACA for deal room information at 602-730-4572.